Do you know what 10 minutes of critical Google searching will let you know and inform you of? The fact that all your information is incorrect. He went on in another part of the statement to say that then they would take the eggshells, and paint them red and all this sort of thing, trying to relate it to Easter. First and foremost, there is absolutely zero archaeological evidence that baby sacrifices or even human sacrifices were done in Egypt for the god Horus. None whatsoever. That's not even how Horus was worshipped. And then the other aspect of it is that as far as human sacrifices are concerned, definitely after the first dynasty, there was absolutely zero human sacrifices in the way that you would put human sacrifice towards a deity. Now, what you did have is you had humans being killed if they were POWs or if they were slaves or criminals. Well, not the slaves. If they were criminals or POWs, you had people being killed for that. The Egyptian record shows that. The other type of sacrifices that were not real human sacrifices, it was retainer sacrifices, which means that you had kings like Droger. King Droger, he had certain numbers of his servants were willfully sacrificed in order to serve him in the afterlife. This was a popular theme, not only in Egypt, but in other countries as well, to have your servants to be killed at the same time. Now, there is speculation of one of Droger's, at Droger's entombment, that 500 bodies were found, but it is not necessary that all of them were sacrificed for him. There could have also been some type of event that happened that caused for that many, because normally it's about 26 people that are sacrificed, some lords, some noblemen, and then also some people, the new king would make sure that these lords or noblemen were sacrificed because they were in opposition to the new king. So that's called a retainer sacrifice, and they did this willfully, and in their belief, they weren't sacrificing to a god. They were well, to them the Pharaoh was God, but they were sacrificing to serve him in the afterlife. So that is not even the type of sacrifice that you're talking about. But human sacrifice, or even child sacrifice to which you're talking about, was actually done by the ancient Israelites. Most likely prior to the Iron Age, Israelites participated in human sacrifice, and particularly baby sacrifice. That baby sacrifice was then kind of rewritten during the Assyrian assaults and during the Babylonian captivity, because they recognized that that's what their ancestors did, and they wanted to kind of rectify it. And the written record and the historical etchings demonstrate this as far as the Israelites were concerned. Now, before anybody says anything about Moloch, understand, Moloch was not a god. The word Moloch means to go through the fire, to be burned through the fire. When a baby was sacrificed, it is called a Moloch. It was used more like, I don't know, a verb than it was used towards a deity. The Canaanites, they did Moloch. They worship Yahweh. The Israelites worship Yahweh. They did Moloch. The worshippers of Baals, they did Moloch sacrifices. But it was the ancient Israelites and other people in the Levant who participated in child sacrifice, in the sacrificing of babies. But it has absolutely nothing to do with Easter and eggs. I don't know where you got that information from. I even tried to search and see where you got that information from so that I can see if the source is credible. And I couldn't even find that information. So I don't know, maybe it's somewhere that I didn't look. But if you know where that's at, let me know, because I would like to check your source to see if your source is credible. But the consensus of every Egyptologist is that the Egyptians never practiced child sacrifice. The closest you're going to get is a story by the Greeks that tell of a priest who desired to become a man who desired to become one of the priests in Egypt, and he was asked, "What do you hold on to? What is important in this life to you?" He said, "His son." And the priest told him to go and throw your son into the Nile River. The man went to go throw his son in the Nile River, but then he was stopped by a younger priest and questioned, "Why are you throwing your son in the river?" "Because the old priest told me to throw my son in the river." Well, he changed his mind. So then the boy was saved. There are many stories like that that are used to demonstrate how people who come into the temple become monks, of how they sacrifice their family. And this is done in multiple ways. When you look at the story of Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, then you see that he sacrificed not only his kingdom, but he sacrificed his family as well. He abandoned his family. He abandoned his wife. He abandoned his son. He actually named his son the Sanskrit word for chains, because he felt that his son would hold him back from becoming an ascetic. And this Egyptian story is based on the monk wanting to become a member of the ascetics. And you have ascetic groups all over the world where they had those stories where the person had to either abandon their child, abandon their family, or sacrifice their family. The Egyptian story, and it's in the Verba Subtorium in the Latin. I can't pronounce the Greek word. It's like the apathamagata, something like that. But you had these stories being told of monks having to sacrifice their family, men having to sacrifice their families or kill their child, much the same way as you have the Abraham story, where Abraham was told that he had to sacrifice his son so that he wouldn't hold on to anything on earth before he held on to God. So that is just a popular theme of a story, and none of those stories have actual proof that any of them actually happened, but was more than likely a story that was told to those who want to become members of ascetic groups so that they would understand how important and how devoted that they have to be. But as far as any child sacrifice to Horus, your information is so off. You need, please send me where you got that information from. But y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.